Welcome back to this week's episode of the Dead Air Records podcast. My name is Jess.
And I'm Mark.
And we are the owners of Dead Air Records, which is an independent record shop based right here in Liverpool. This is the final episode of the podcast.
We made it.
And you've made it. Thank you so much if you tuned in for any or all of the episodes. Wow. We're super, super grateful. We've got a performance this week to round off this season.
This is it. What better way?
What better way?
What better way?
So yeah, stick around. We are going to be treated to an amazing performance from electronic duo Those Holy.
Sick.
It's really, really good. Yeah, amazing to have like synths and sounds and industrial tones in the shop.
Something a bit different this week.
Yeah, completely. Yeah. So yeah, really excited to share this with you. Go check them out. They're called Those Holy, and then stick around after the performance for an interview with them as well. Enjoy.
when it's cold at night, I'll kiss your velvet sleeve. I know we'll never end. I'll keep you company. I'll keep you company.
Chrissy, Lucy, thank you so much for coming into the shop today and playing a set for us. Do you want to tell us about like the sound of like Those Holy and how that came together for you two?
Yeah, sure. Thanks for having us. The sound of Those Holy, I guess there's lots of influences from harsh noise music in there, but I think we also tend to listen to a lot of pop, and that those two things have come together to create some sort of industrial pop music. I think like at the beginning I was like fighting away against that pop influence, or not like at least in terms of like describing it. But I think all of our songs will naturally go towards pop song structures, and we want to have verse and choruses, so it seems like a combination of like two worlds and doesn't quite seem to neatly fit into either.
Yeah, it's definitely like a dreamy pop influence with the vocals, and that's like industrial sound from Chrissy, which to be fair I've never really heard before, so it's quite nice to have that. It feels quite different and unique. Yeah.
And it gives you so much like room to experiment, I guess. If you've got these two worlds that sometimes feel like they sit quite apart from each other, then that gives you lots of room in the middle to kind of explore that.
Yeah, for sure. Because I think, like in many ways, pop's more experimental than noise music. It can be quite easy to just like slap on a load of feedback and be riding the noise waves. But if you can find a way to combine pop into that, or to make it make sense, I think that's like a bit more experimental than straight up noise.
Nice. And then like, how did it come to be? Like, when did Those Holy start? What's the journey been so far?
So you, in your solo project as Fend, I did vocals on a track. I don't know how that came about though.
I think we used to run a club night called Dance Macabre, which was for industrial goth leaning club music, and you DJ'd at one.
Yeah.
And then I think through that we started chatting about, we both produce our own music, and you collabed in one of my tracks, and then I think from then the idea of making a new project was spoke about. It probably took like a year
Yeah.
before we actually like
Wow.
sat down in a room and started working on tracks. But I think from that experience, working on that first track together, it just made sense that the way we work creatively was worked well together.
Yeah, it was pretty quick from the first practice, wasn't it? It's like Chrissy was like, "We've already got a gig lined up." Right, okay. But yeah, it speeds you up, but it's good to have like a deadline and stuff as well.
100%, yeah.
Nice. Yeah, puts you on that sort of like trajectory of like we're going through this.
Yeah,
this is
we need to finish this song.
Yeah. Nothing like a hard deadline to like get something done.
Yeah.
And then I guess like as that was kind of being formed, were there any like influences or like references that you kind of shared with each other? Like where do you take your influence from? And have there been any records in the shop that you may have sparked today that sparked that?
Do you want to go first?
Yeah, I guess from like a vocal point of view, which is a very new thing for me as well. I've never really sang before. I definitely grew up on like dream pop and trip hop and shoegaze. So I guess this
Oh, great album.
speaks to me on many volumes. And yeah, Hope Sandoval being on this album as well is amazing. I love the way that she sings and never really finishes the word. It just kind of like airs out. And yeah, I love that. But yeah, huge inspiration. It's definitely Mass Attack for me.
That's amazing. How about you, Chrissy? Any like references or anything you pull in for your music?
I'm not sure if this was apt record for it, but I picked out Selected Ambient Works too by
Nice.
FX Twin. I feel like FX Twin was like my gateway drug almost into like lots of ambient music or electronic music that I wouldn't have previously listened to, and some of the noisier textures, particularly on that one. Definitely has shaped, my approach to music, or is this a musical or non-musical sound? And the answer is it doesn't matter really most of the time.
So you recently released your remixes EP. How was that for you? How was the recording process?
The experience was super positive. We released a single at the end of last year in Shadows, but that was just digitally. And then afterwards we had been chatting to some of the contributors about remixing, and then that's when the sort of idea of putting it as an EP and pressing it. But yeah, I've never put music on a record before, so there's something like super special about that. And the collaborators we worked with, one was Autumns, who's a Derry-based producer. He makes sort of quite heavy, gothy, industrial dance music. And then Low Tracks, who is German but based in Paris, and he makes much more trip hop, sort of, how would you
Like
describe?
Dubby,
yeah.
sludgy weirdness, but greatness.
So they're two ends of the spectrum really there in the remixes, and they're both artists that we admire and have got to know personally now, through putting on shows. So being able to share a record together was like a really special experience,
Yeah.
And the decision, I guess, to put that on vinyl and press that as like a physical thing, that's like a really big thing for any sort of like independent or like emerging band to do. So how was that for you guys? It was really exciting to see it as a physical thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. It was actually cut rather than pressed by Lathe to the Grave, who are Welsh, based in Cardiff actually, Lathe cutter. And the experience again was super positive. It's amazing to have something tangible and physical, and it also sounds great as well. And to have our names on a record beside two artists that we really look up to as well has been super special.
Nice. And can people still get like a hold of that record? Is that still available for people to buy?
Yes, it is. Yeah, you can get it on Bandcamp.
Nice. So live shows, you've got a couple coming up. Where can people come and see you play?
We are playing at Quarry on the 17th.
That's right.
With
She the Throne, your Manchester-based band, and Quieting, who's a Liverpool-based producer.
Nice.
Yep, and then we've got Belfast on the 19th of April at...
It's at a club night called Leatherette, which is a DJ called Phil Kerr, and it's his night. It's just for us really. It's a perfect Good Friday gig for moody, gothy electronics.
Perfect Friday night out.
Yeah, yeah. And it's first time played in Ireland as well, so that's really
nice.
special.
Homecoming gig.
Yeah.
Great.
And then we have Outer Waves Festival on the 24th and 25th of May, which is like a boundary pushing music and arts festival. We've got lots of experimental and alternative acts in there, so we're really excited about that as well.
Amazing. So in terms of the future and like what you've got coming up next, we talked about gigs, but like what's next for music? Have you got anything planned for the rest of this year? Any recording?
Yeah, I think we are hopefully going to have an EP together by the end of the year. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, that's the plan. We started recording an EP in January, but to sort of getting the record together sort of sidetracked that a little bit. But we're hoping by summer we can get back in the studio and start to finish off what we started.
Nice. So yeah, obviously we are a shop based here in Liverpool. Liverpool's really important to us, and it'd be great to hear about what your relationship is to Liverpool as musicians and also as those Holy as well.
Yeah, I mean, I love it here. I've lived here nearly 12 years now, so the word home is different depending where I am, but my experience of the Liverpool music scene has always been one of total vibrancy and not being afraid to experiment. And in many ways I think that attitude has allowed this band to come into fruition, because there are many aspects of particularly our live set, that are unconventional, and if we weren't in an environment like Liverpool that encouraged those kind of practices, then we might not have been able to make the sort of music that we do. So I mean, I totally love Liverpool from that. Much of the music that I hold most dear is a result of my experience in Liverpool and being able to go to gigs that wouldn't have happened for me back home at least 12 years ago. So yeah, it's been great.
Yeah, I guess similar for me. I feel that on my own and also in this project, I just feel so well supported by Liverpool. Like everyone has your back, and whether that's gigs or people coming to gigs or just people talking like to you, like there's just such a big support for up and coming artists in Liverpool, and we really notice that when we go to other cities, don't we, as well? Like it's not as friendly in other cities sometimes, and like just the promoters, the venues, the people in Liverpool, like it's just so set up for new artists to, as you say, experiment as well. So yeah, really grateful for Liverpool.
Perfect. That was a perfect way to end it up and round it off.
Well, that was incredible.
That was amazing.
It was just awesome to see something like electronic and heavy.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
And for it to be like a continuous set as well, the way it went in from like one track to the second track, just an amazing performance all around and a really like continuous experience.
It sounded immense in the shop as well.
Yeah, it's amazing. So yeah, go check out those Holy. You can go and stream some of those songs online now, and super exciting to hear that they've got new music coming up later this year too.
Yeah.
And they've got gigs, so go and support them at their local gigs as well in Liverpool. But this is it. This is the final episode.
We did it. I can't believe it's done.
Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations.
And congratulations to everyone that has listened as well, and for bearing with us.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a wrap on season 1. We're so grateful for everybody that has tuned in or watched us. We're going to be taking a little break, and then we'll be back with a second season in a few months' time.
In the summer?
In the summer,
Let's go.
We're aiming for the summer, so we're going to get some new bands in for performances, some more
guests.
interviews, new guests,
Yeah.
and maybe we'll battle it out a couple of times next season as well, so we can carry on my victory from this season. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, forget about Pablo, honey. Anyway, thank you so much. We'll see you next time.
Cheers.